Strange things happen all the time to normal, average, everyday people. Some of these people send in letters telling us about them. Are they true? Light a candle, turn out the lights, sit in the quiet comfort of your home while I tell you the tales of the bizarre, and let you judge if they are real. Tales of the Bizarre is brought to you by artbyweeze.com. Psst. Hey you. Yeah, you, listening to the show. You know the one thing that's been around since those cave guys were living and still around? Art, right? They used to scratch it into the walls. Forget about it. I know you ain't going to do that, so I got something for you. You want to decorate your cave? Well, your house. You want to have something really nice decorating your walls, right? Yeah, of course you do. I got a tip for you. Check out artbyweeze.com. Her art is gorgeous. You can even get high-quality prints of her art starting at only $10. Go there, or drop into her studio at 700 Diamond Avenue in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Tell her Dan sent you. She'll give you 10% off. Hey, I'm looking out for you. Tonight's little tale is about a very interesting woman our listener William wrote us about. For privacy purposes, I won't share his last name. William says, "There is a woman I want to tell you about. It's not likely you've ever met one quite like this. Her name is Mavra. I call her Mavra, the Jungle Woman. I'm going to tell you what happened to me, but I don't honestly expect you to believe it. I can hardly believe it myself when it happened to me. There's a company I do some work for, communications technology stuff. It's not a full-time job. The guy who runs it calls me up when he needs help with something. He had a job to do in Brazil, and he wanted me to go with him. The pay was great and all expenses covered, and it sounded like fun. You know, big adventure. I'd never been out of the country before, so I jumped at the chance. We flew down there about 3 months ago and started work. We both spoke enough Spanish to get by, but, not much more than that. The job was for a new company forming up near the Amazon rainforest. It was like stepping into a movie. Everything was wild and exciting, and I was having a blast. The women down there are nothing like the women here in the States. Like I said, it was exciting. It was also dangerous. Very dangerous. Well, there was a week where we had nothing to do while we waited on some parts we needed to be shipped in. They don't exactly have FedEx in the jungle, so it takes a while to get things. Gary, that's the guy I was working for, he's a quiet kind of guy. He hung around the hotel mostly, but I wanted to get out and explore the Amazon jungle. Each day, I wandered a little further. That place is incredible. You have to be there to understand it. It's really wild. The 4th day in, I had gone pretty far from the village. Sitting on a fallen tree, eating some lunch, I heard a rustling in the bushes. And just as I looked up, a jaguar walked into the small clearing. It stood there staring at me for a moment. Running wasn't going to do me much good, and that cat could climb a tree a lot faster than I could. It started growling at me and walking slowly towards me. I grabbed a stick and was about to stand up when the jaguar stopped coming towards me and stopped growling. He was looking past me, over my head. Whatever could make a jaguar do that was behind me, and I felt a sudden kinship with that jaguar. The thought that something could scare the jaguar being right behind me scared me even more than the jaguar did. Slowly I turned my head, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It was a woman. A native woman. Obviously from the animal skin she wore. She was staring intently at the jaguar, her eyes wide and her face calm but fierce-looking. She was beautiful, and I found myself just as mesmerized by her as the jaguar was. The jaguar was moving again, I could hear its footsteps and turned to see what it was doing. It was leaving, just walking away. When it was out of sight, I looked around again for the woman, but she too was gone. It was eerie. She hadn't said a word, hadn't made a single sound, and now she had vanished. Somehow, she had made that jaguar leave just by looking at it, like she was communicating with it telepathically. I didn't even get a chance to thank her. She had saved my life. There was a lot of strange stories about things in the Amazon jungle, and after this, I believed them all. After searching for her for an hour with no luck, I headed back to the hotel and told Gary what happened. He just looked at me like I was nuts. The man lacked any imagination. The next day, I went back to the spot where it happened and started searching for the jungle woman again. I told myself it was to thank her, but it was more than that. She was remarkably beautiful, and the whole idea of meeting a beautiful, wild jungle woman filled my dreams the night before with some very interesting things. Wouldn't you have wanted to see her again? Yeah. Anyway, after a whole day of searching, she was nowhere to be found, and though I did wonder if she was somewhere nearby watching me and keeping out of sight. At least this time I had a pistol with me. Another day dawned and still no parts came in for the job, so I went back and searched for her. This time I started calling out, "Hello, are you there?" Deeper into the jungle I went and kept calling out to her. It was late morning, and just as I was about to yell out for her again, she stepped out in front of me and said, "Silence! Foolish man, do you wish the animals to come after you?" Her Spanish was a bit different from what I knew, but I got the gist of what she was saying. She asked why I came there, and I told her it was to find her and thank her for helping me. She looked at me curiously, like I was as strange to her as she was to me. I guess I probably was. Then she said, "Come." And she turned and started walking off, so naturally I followed her. Any attempted conversation on my part was ignored, so after a while I just followed in silence. We walked for about an hour when we came to a rocky hill. About 20 feet up was the entrance to a cave. It was obviously her home. We didn't go very far in, and there was still enough light from outside to see a little. There was a clicking sound, like two stones smacking together, and the light from a torch illuminated everything. I thanked her for saving me and asked her name. She said it was Mavra. Then I asked why she brought me to her cave. She didn't answer right away. She just stood there looking at me. It made me uncomfortable. Then she smiled and said, "For your safety." She walked over to me, close to me, and the look on her face was the same as the look she had when she was looking at that jaguar. My head started to hurt and blackness swept over me. It was like swimming in a thick fog until my eyes cleared. The headache was gone. Next thing I noticed, the cave was gone. I was standing at the edge of the jungle not far from the hotel with no idea how I'd gotten there. It took a few minutes for my head to clear before making my way to the hotel. Gary was in the lobby talking to what passes for a cop in those parts, and when he looked up and saw me, he ran to me. He seemed really excited, and Gary doesn't do excited. "What's the big deal?" I asked him. "I was only gone a few hours." He stared silently at me for a while. Then he said I had been missing for 3 days. He pointed to the calendar on the wall, and it really was 3 days later than it should be. I even asked the desk clerk the date, and he just pointed to the calendar, too. Somehow, I had lost 3 days in the jungle, and no memory of what happened or how I got back. Gary thought I must have hit my head and had some kind of amnesia, so he took me to the local doctor who checked me over, and there was no sign of any traumas in my head. Then the doc told me this has happened before, and they all tell the same story about a jungle woman called Mavra and being taken to her cave, only to find themselves back home days later with no memory of what happened once they reached her cave. If it hadn't happened to me personally, I would never have believed it. Just chalked it up to local superstition. Well, that's it. That's my bizarre tale. Feel free to use it on your show if you want. I did go back into the jungle looking for Mavra, but I never found her or her cave. Signed, William. Well, what do you think, listeners? Could it have happened? What did she do to William and that cougar? We'll probably never know. If you ever find yourself lost in the Amazon jungle and meet this jungle woman named Mavra, let us know what happens. You might be in our next Tales of the Bizarre.